Once it gets late in the season in wheat, there's not nearly as much you can do to make your yields great, but there are a couple of things you might want to consider if you want high yield and good quality.
Especially when we get to heading, there are just not as many things that you can do, but there's a couple key diseases when we talk about head scab and also about late season rusts that we have to be concerned about. And then we look at just that protein component when we're talking about wheat where you can get a protein bonus. What can you do to influence that and how can you get nitrogen out there?
Yeah, and don't forget about late season insects as well. So here's what we want you to consider. Spray at heading timing with a fungicide. Now, if you want to just go with the cheap option, Aureus is $2 an acre. Okay, that's generic Folicure. Just a few years ago, that cost $15 an acre. Now it's $2. Very inexpensive. Going to be excellent on rust, just not nearly as good on Fusarium head blight or head scab.
There's nothing wrong with it. And that's the thing. You say, well, wait a minute, it dropped from $15 to $2.
Yeah,
Maybe there's
wrong with it.
A resistance issue or something else.
Yeah, what's wrong with it is you've got Prosaro and you have Caramba out there that are much better on head scab. So that's what's wrong with it.
Well, there's nothing wrong. What I'm saying is that the Aureus or generic Folicure, it hasn't changed at all. It's still highly effective on many of the rusts. It's still okay on scab control. And if you're in an area where you say, man, I'm just really not worried about scab this year, but I am concerned about stripe rust or something else coming in late, here's a cheap option. And if you do have a low infestation of head scab, that Aureus may be enough for you.
All right, so when you're out there spraying that fungicide, we encourage you to scout for insects. And if you're finding harmful insects, grasshoppers, aphids, number of other problem bugs that you can have in wheat, spray. It costs $1.50 to $2 an acre to get an inexpensive pyrethroid-like silencer. That's it. You're going to invest $2 an acre in Aureus, $2 an acre in silencer, so you got $4 an acre. You can get diseases and insects. So I'm not saying just go spray if you have absolutely no bugs out there, but I am telling you, have some insecticide along. So when you're out there spraying anyway, you just get off the sprayer, check a little bit. If you got some harmful insects, kill them. It's not too tough.
We're typically targeting 10 to 15% flowering. That head has to be out if you want to protect it. It needs to be a little bit along the ways in the flowering process so it's opened up so we can get some protection around the head. The other thing at this time that we think about is just how much protein is going to be in that wheat.
Right, and the whole key here is having late season nitrogen available. Now there are a number of different ways that you can get that out there. There's some people who will foliar apply nitrogen. You'll burn the crop a little bit, but you absolutely will increase your protein levels. You can certainly stream bar on some nitrogen fairly late in the year as long as you get a rain to get that nitrogen into the ground and into the plant. That's another way to go. If you had built your organic matter levels over the last few years to let's say 5 or 6%, for every 1% of organic matter you have in your soil, you're going to get 20 to 30 pounds of free nitrogen every year for your crop. If you had 5% organic matter, that's 100 to 150 pounds of nitrogen that's going to come available at some point during the year, usually kind of late in the season, right when your crop needs it to make protein. Now, here's the question. Can I mix fertilizer, fungicide, and insecticide all in the same tank? Now there are people who have done it, but it's going to get pretty hot. So I would discourage you from doing that on very many acres till you've done it on a few acres to feel confident that you're not going to hurt your wheat. Because anytime you put fertilizer together with something else, it gets hot, but especially when it's together with a fungicide like a triazole product, Aureus or Folicure especially, it's hot.
I wouldn't either. I don't like that three-way mix. It gets too hot too often for my taste. But the other thing that I was just going to caution you on is this. You've got to be out there before that disease hits. So remember, we got to protect the flag leaf. That's the most important thing when it comes to disease. Now, obviously, head scab is a separate issue, but we've got to protect that flag leaf. Get that disease protection out when you need to.
However, keep in mind that fungicides aren't going to move in the plant, so your flag leaf fungicide is not going to do you any good at heading.
Well, one other issue you'll need to take care of in advance is weed control. You don't want to let it go this long in wheat, but we'll show you how to stop this weed coming up next.